Have you ever felt that your later years aren't as fulfilling as they could be? In this video, we delve into the ultimate 5 mistakes that many make in old age, unknowingly diminishing their quality of life. By watching until the end, you'll uncover essential insights and practical strategies to avoid these pitfalls, ensuring your golden years are rich with purpose, connection, and joy. Don't miss out on transforming your aging experience into the most meaningful chapter of your life. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. Neglecting physical and mental health. One of the most heartbreaking mistakes we make as we grow older is allowing our physical and mental health to slip to the back of our minds. It's as if, upon reaching a certain age, we believe that our bodies and minds are destined to fade into nothingness, an inevitable decline that we must simply accept. We tend to treat ourselves with the same neglect we might offer an old, forgotten object that no longer holds any value. We resign ourselves to a life of passivity, sitting more than moving, eating poorly, and falling into routines that sap the joy and energy from our days. And all the while, we complain about the aches and pains that accompany aging, without understanding that these discomforts aren't signs of defeat, but desperate pleas for us to pay attention, to nurture what has been loyal to us all these years. Here's the truth we often forget. While we can't reverse time, we have the power to choose how we age, how vibrant and alive we feel in these later years, and how much joy we can extract from every single day. We have the power to determine whether we enter this stage of life with grace or with resignation. Our bodies, for all the years they've supported us, carrying us through triumphs and failures, lifting us after each fall, are our most loyal companions. Yet, in our later years, we often abandon them, neglecting their needs and ignoring the subtle signals they send. Fatigue, stiffness, aches, these aren't just signs of aging. They're cries for help, a reminder that we still need to care for ourselves, to tend to what's been there for us all along. It's as though we've forgotten that the body deserves the same love and attention as the heart and mind. The cruel irony is that when we stop moving, when we give in to the comfort of stillness, we age even faster. Our bodies were never meant to be sedentary. They were made to move, to stretch, to feel the rhythm of life through each step, each action. A short walk in the park, gentle stretches in the morning, or even something as simple as tending to a garden, all of these tiny, seemingly insignificant actions remind our bodies that they are still useful, still vital. When we engage in these movements, we send a message to our muscles, joints, and organs. I still need you, and I'm going to take care of you. This is not just about physical movement. It's about honoring the life that courses through us, the very essence of who we are. And then, there's the mind, the unsung hero that has guided us through the complex tapestry of life. Yet, in old age, it often becomes a forgotten treasure, left to grow dull, stagnant, and uninspired. How often do we allow our minds to wither away by falling into monotonous routines, by retreating into endless hours of television or mindless scrolling on our phones? It's easy to numb our thoughts this way, to fill the void with distractions rather than with the curiosity and wonder that once defined our existence. But here's the bitter reality. When we neglect our minds, they begin to wither. Our sense of purpose diminishes. Our capacity for joy and excitement wanes. A mind left unstimulated can fall into despair, into loneliness that gnaws at the spirit, convincing us that we are no longer relevant. But we are. We are more relevant than ever. Our social circles inevitably shrink as we age. Friends move away, family members pass on, and we are left to face the void. That emptiness can feel like a heavy weight on our hearts, a constant reminder that life is slipping away. But here's the truth we need to embrace. We have so much more to offer, even in these later years. Our wisdom, our stories, our experiences, all of these have immense value. They are the treasures we carry with us, and it's time to share them. It's in this phase of life that we should embrace meaningful connections, build new relationships, and nurture the ones we have. We should seek to build bridges, not walls, to remain active in our communities and give back, rather than withdraw into isolation. The first step towards a more vibrant and fulfilling life, physically and mentally, is to believe in our ability to change, to grow, to improve. Society often tells us that it's too late to make a difference, and that old age is a time of slow decline, but that's simply not true. Research has shown that even in our 70s and 80s, we can strengthen our bodies, sharpen our minds, and improve our overall well-being, if we commit to doing the work. It's not about turning back time. It's about making the most of the time we have left, filling it with purpose and joy. When we nourish our bodies with healthy food, we're not just feeding ourselves. We're investing in more years of mobility, fewer doctor's visits, in a higher quality of life. When we move our bodies, whether through a walk, a stretch, or even a simple change in posture, we're telling our bodies, I'm not ready to give up. When we challenge our minds, by reading a new book, learning a skill, or trying something new, we remind ourselves that growth doesn't stop at any age. But let's not forget the emotional side of this equation. Aging brings with it a great deal of loss, and loss brings grief. It's natural to mourn what we've lost, our youth, our health, our loved ones. But even in this grief, there is room for gratitude. Gratitude for the sunrises we've witnessed, for the meals we've shared, for the love we've experienced, and for the legacy we've built. It's gratitude that can transform aging from something to fear into something to cherish. When we shift our focus from what we've lost to what we still have, life becomes immeasurably richer. We become aware of the beauty in the small moments, the warmth of the sun on our faces, the laughter of a friend, and the joy of a peaceful moment. These are the treasures we must hold close. Neglecting our physical and mental health is a slow surrender to despair. It strips us of the vitality and joy that should define our golden years. But here's the good news. The choice is always ours. Every day, we have the chance to nourish our bodies, to engage our minds, and to connect with others. It's not about living forever. It's about living fully, with purpose, clarity, and joy. The most precious gift we have is not the past. It's the present moment, and how we choose to spend it. That's the legacy we'll leave behind. And in the end, isn't that what matters most? 2. Relying on vices for comfort. As the years slip by, life often changes in ways we never imagined. While growing older, everything that once filled our days, our careers, our children's lives, endless responsibilities, fades into the background. What once was a whirlwind of activity, deadlines, and obligations now becomes a slower, quieter existence. We find ourselves with more time on our hands than we know what to do with. And in this newfound silence, many seniors begin to grapple with something unexpected, a deep, gnawing emptiness. It's a hollowness that no amount of comfort can seem to fill. In an attempt to mask that feeling, we turn to small indulgences, hoping they will ease the ache of loneliness, boredom, or the emotional void that inevitably comes with time. But over time, those comforting habits can morph into vices, draining the vibrancy from our lives instead of nurturing it. It's understandable why this happens. When we retire, we lose the structure that once defined our days. Without a steady rhythm, the hours endlessly before us, each one seemingly longer and harder to fill. It's easy to let distractions fill the gaps, to find solace in the simplest pleasures. Pleasures that, at first, seem harmless but soon grow into something far more consuming. For some, it's the comfort of a glass of wine, a drink after dinner that gradually becomes part of the routine, until it's needed every night to unwind. For others, it's sinking into hours of television or endlessly scrolling through social media, desperate for any connection, even if it's only through a screen. And then there are the darker habits, overeating, gambling, or even over-medicating, as an attempt to numb the aches of aging, to dull the sharpness of regret or fear of an uncertain future. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. What often begins as an innocent act, a single drink to take the edge off, a quick episode of a favorite show to pass the time, a little extra food as a reward for a lifetime of hard work, can quickly spiral into something far more sinister. These habits, which once felt like small acts of self-care, can slowly begin to hold us hostage. They can steal our energy, our joy, and even our clarity. Instead of filling the void, they often leave us with a deeper emptiness, a sense of resignation that nothing will ever change, that we've missed our chance at something more fulfilling. The problem with vices is that they never truly solve the problems they seek to cover up. They offer a temporary illusion of comfort, but they don't address the root causes of our pain or loneliness. They create a vicious cycle. The more we turn to these comforts, the more we disconnect from the things that matter. The deeper we fall into these distractions, the harder it becomes to face the true emotions that need healing. And so, many seniors find themselves drifting through life in a fog of resignation, dulled by their vices, afraid to confront the deeper truths about their emotional pain, their unmet needs, and the unspoken longing for connection and purpose. Breaking free from this cycle takes incredible courage. It takes the bravery to admit that these habits, while soothing, are no longer serving us. They are holding us back from truly living. It requires the willingness to face the difficult emotions behind those vices and make the decision to replace them with something more meaningful, something that will nourish our souls rather than dull our senses. It's not easy, but it is possible. The human spirit, no matter how seasoned by time, still craves purpose, connection, and love. And when we deny ourselves those things, we begin to search for substitutes. The key is to realize that the substitute can't replace what we truly need. A temporary distraction will never fulfill the deep longing for connection, understanding, and significance that we all share. Instead of retreating into vices, let's seek out activities that engage us, nurture our minds and bodies, and foster our sense of belonging. If you find yourself reaching for a drink to fill the silence, why not reach out to a neighbor instead? Invite them over for tea, engage in conversation, and share your experiences. If you're spending hours mindlessly watching television, consider spending that time giving back. Volunteer somewhere you feel your wisdom and life experience would be valued. If loneliness feels like a constant companion, reach out. Call a loved one, join a book club, or attend a local event where you can meet new people. The world still has so much to offer, and your presence, your stories, your compassion, and your wisdom are gifts the world desperately needs. It's also essential to ask ourselves the hard questions. What are these habits masking? Are you drinking to drown the feelings of regret over things undone? Are you eating to fill an emotional void that seems impossible to escape? Are you gambling because the rush of excitement is something you no longer find in your daily life? These habits are not just distractions. They are emotional bandages for deeper wounds. To truly heal, we must confront these emotions, not bury them. Therapy, journaling, or confiding in a trusted friend can help you unpack these feelings and start addressing the root causes of your discomfort. Some might say, why change now? What's the point at my age? But this is precisely where we find our greatest opportunity. Every single day is a chance to choose a better path, to reclaim your joy, and to shape the future you still deserve. Change is not about erasing the past. It's about embracing the present and deciding that you are worthy of a fulfilling life, no matter your age. You have the power to let go of old habits and replace them with passions that excite you, things that breathe life back into your soul. Learning something new, engaging with nature, and strengthening relationships. These are not just distractions. They are ways of reclaiming the richness of life. Relying on vices is a form of quiet surrender. It's the belief that your best days are behind you, that there's nothing left worth living for. But this is a lie that your vices whisper to keep you trapped in stagnation. The truth is, you still have so much to offer, so much to experience, and so much to enjoy. The key is to choose connection over isolation, curiosity over complacency, and purpose over distraction. When you choose this path, you'll find that the emptiness begins to fade, replaced by the warmth and vibrancy of a life fully lived. You are never too old to start anew, to choose hope, and to embrace the possibility of joy. 3. Clinging to a victim mentality. Life, with its relentless twists and turns, has a way of leaving its indelible marks on us. By the time we reach our later years, many of us carry scars, emotional wounds that echo deep within, physical changes that remind us of our aging bodies, and financial burdens that may have been harder to shake off than we ever imagined. We've all faced losses, perhaps loved ones, friends, opportunities, and each of these has contributed to shaping who we are today. We've weathered disappointments, endured hardships, and navigated struggles that have, at times, brought us to our knees. These experiences are real, they are painful, and they leave lasting impressions. Yet, one of the most destructive things we can do in our later years is cling to a victim mentality, allowing the painful chapters of our past to define who we are now and to darken the future ahead of us. I understand deeply how easy it can be to succumb to feelings of bitterness and resentment when life hasn't unfolded the way we imagined. Perhaps relationships, once filled with warmth and promise, turned cold and distant, leaving us isolated and estranged from those we once held dear. Perhaps the financial security we worked tirelessly to build was swept away by unforeseen circumstances. Illness, job loss, or simply bad luck. Some of us have been betrayed by those we trusted the most, and others have suffered unimaginable tragedy. These wounds, these injustices, are undeniably real and impossible to ignore. They are like shadows that follow us through our days, threatening to color every moment with sadness and regret. And while it is perfectly normal to feel that sting, to feel the weight of what we've lost, we must be careful not to let these things dictate the quality of the years still left to us. The tragedy of clinging to a victim mentality is that it traps us in a cycle of pain. When we allow ourselves to dwell on what went wrong or who wronged us, we become prisoners to our suffering. We replay the hurt over and over in our minds, and in doing so, we reinforce the false belief that life is inherently unfair. The more we nurture this belief, the more we come to see ourselves as powerless in a world that has betrayed us. We start to believe that we are victims of fate, people who have been dealt a bad hand and have no control over the rest of their lives. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more we fixate on our misfortunes, the less we can see the opportunities that still lie before us. We stop looking for ways to heal, to grow, to adapt, and instead, we allow ourselves to stagnate in sorrow. We lose our sense of agency, and in doing so, we lose the ability to reclaim joy and purpose from the precious time we still have. But here is the painful truth we must come to accept. No matter how much life has hurt you, no matter how many disappointments you have faced, you are not defined by what has happened to you. You are defined by how you choose to respond. And that choice is always yours to make. Even in the face of the greatest adversity, you have the power to decide whether your hardships will weigh you down or whether they will serve as stepping stones to something greater. You can choose to allow the pain to rule your life, or you can rise above it. In old age, this choice becomes even more critical. Time is no longer a luxury we can afford to waste, and to waste it on bitterness, resentment, and regret is to squander what little we have left. Our remaining years should be filled with peace, fulfillment, and joy, not defined by the wounds of our past. Letting go of a victim mentality does not mean denying or minimizing the pain you have endured. It does not mean pretending that the losses you've suffered don't matter. What it does mean, however, is choosing not to let that pain control you. It means looking at your life and saying, yes, this happened to me, and it was painful. But it will not be the defining force of my future. The first step to breaking free from this mindset is to shift your focus. Move away from what has been taken from you and instead focus on what remains. You may have lost loved ones, but you still can love. You may be facing physical challenges, but your mind and spirit are still capable of growth. Perhaps your wealth and resources are not what you once dreamed of, but you have something far more valuable. wisdom, experience, and the ability to touch the lives of those around you in profound and meaningful ways. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to the poison of victimhood. When you make a conscious effort to focus on what you have, rather than what you don't have, you begin to see the beauty in the simplest of things. Gratitude opens your eyes to the richness that still exists in your life, even in the face of difficulty. It allows you to recognize that, even though life may not be perfect, there is still so much to be thankful for. When you cultivate a mindset of gratitude, life feels fuller, brighter, and more abundant. And in that abundance, you will find your strength, your hope, and your power. Another crucial step in overcoming a victim mentality is reclaiming your power. The feeling of helplessness that often accompanies this mindset comes from believing that life simply happens to us and that we are at the mercy of forces beyond our control. But even in our later years, we still can shape our world. We can repair fractured relationships by extending forgiveness and understanding. We can create new routines and habits that bring meaning to our days. We can still contribute to our communities, leaving a legacy of kindness, wisdom, and compassion. Every small act of kindness, every step towards healing, is a declaration that we are not powerless. We are still capable of making a difference, no matter our age. Perhaps the greatest freedom comes when we finally learn to let go. Let go of the grudges that weigh heavy on our hearts. Let go of the expectations that no longer serve us. Let go of the need to prove ourselves or to seek validation from others for our struggles. When we release these burdens, we open ourselves to new joys, new possibilities, and new freedoms. We make room for peace, for lightness, for a more fulfilling life. Old age is not just a time to reflect on the past, it is also a time to rewrite the story we tell ourselves. Instead of seeing ourselves as victims of life's cruelties, we can choose to see ourselves as survivors, fighters who have weathered the storms and are still standing. There is dignity in this. There is strength in this. And there is hope in knowing that, even now, we have the power to choose a life filled with purpose, joy, and positivity. Clinging to a victim mentality is like holding onto a heavy anchor that keeps us tethered to the past. It dims the light of the present and clouds the possibilities of the future. But by letting go of it, by choosing gratitude, empowerment, and forgiveness, we give ourselves the greatest gift we can receive: the freedom to live the years ahead not as victims, but as the authors of our own beautiful, empowering stories. We are not defined by the pain we have endured, but by the strength we summon to rise above it. And that truly is where our power lies. 4. Ignoring financial realities. One of the most heartbreaking and often devastating mistakes that many people make as they age is ignoring the reality of their financial situation. After decades of blood, sweat, and tears, it's easy to believe you've earned the right to stop worrying about money, to spend freely, to give generously, and to trust that things will just work out. However, the painful truth is that financial security in old age doesn't simply appear out of nowhere. It takes awareness, careful planning, and discipline. Even in the years when you feel entitled to let your guard down, neglecting your financial realities can lead to stress, dependence on others, and a profound loss of the dignity that should define your golden years. This is the time to savor life, yet it becomes far too easy to slip into a false sense of freedom, believing that everything will just fall into place. Retirement often carries with it an illusion of financial liberation. Without the daily grind of a job, the commute, or the constant need to spend money on work-related expenses, many assume that their spending habits will naturally shrink. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Aging comes with its own set of burdens: escalating healthcare costs, the need for home maintenance, the silent creep of inflation, and the undeniable pull to enjoy life through travel, hobbies, or the desire to help loved ones. These costs often add up much faster than most expect, especially when lifestyle changes haven't been made to align with the new financial reality of retirement. The future may feel like a distant thought, but it's not kind to the unprepared. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. One of the most insidious and dangerous habits in old age is living beyond your means. Some people find themselves booking expensive vacations, dining out frequently, or indulging in high-cost hobbies that drain their savings. Others continue to pour money into supporting their adult children or grandchildren, driven by love, even when their financial health is at risk. While these actions may feel incredibly fulfilling at the moment, they can quickly erode the very savings you may need in later years. This short-sighted generosity, though rooted in love, can strip you of the financial stability that should be your priority as you age. How devastating it is to realize, too late, that you've exhausted your resources on others, leaving nothing for yourself. There's also a dangerous trap many seniors fall into: denial. The thought of facing harsh financial truths is overwhelming, so they avoid it. They push aside mounting credit card debt, ignore the need to budget, or keep their financial concerns from their spouse or family, hoping that the problems will somehow resolve on their own. But turning a blind eye to these realities doesn't make them vanish. It only allows them to fester, turning manageable issues into colossal problems. It's a form of self-deception, and the longer it's ignored, the harder it is to address. The fear of confronting these truths can keep us stuck in a cycle of stress, and ultimately, a life less than what we deserve. The key to preventing financial ruin in old age is confronting your financial reality with courage and honesty. You need to take a cold, hard look at where you truly stand. How much do you spend on essentials? What savings do you have? And how long can they last if you continue to live as you are now? Are there areas where you can make changes without sacrificing your dignity or happiness? Facing these uncomfortable questions is a necessary step in protecting your future. And while it may feel like a sacrifice at first, living within your means can bring a sense of empowerment and relief. It's not about deprivation, it's about protecting your peace and independence. When you make the conscious choice to adjust your spending to fit your resources, something incredible happens. You gain a sense of security and, with it, a newfound freedom to focus on what truly matters. Instead of endlessly chasing material comforts, you can invest your time and energy into the relationships and experiences that bring lasting joy. A cozy potluck with friends, full of laughter and good conversation, can be far more fulfilling than a lavish night out. A simple weekend getaway can create memories as precious as any luxury vacation. Living modestly doesn't take away from your life, it enriches it. By freeing yourself from the constant stress of financial worry, you unlock the ability to savor each moment without fear of what's coming next. Another crucial aspect of financial stability in old age is preparing for the unexpected. Healthcare costs are often one of the largest and most overlooked financial burdens on seniors. Even if you're in good health now, the future is unpredictable. It's wise to plan for the possibility of medical expenses that could arise later. Whether that means investing in long-term care insurance, building an emergency fund, or exploring government resources that could ease your financial burden, it's essential to take proactive steps now. And, just as importantly, don't be too proud to seek help when needed. It can be difficult for seniors to ask for advice or assistance, but reaching out to a financial advisor, attending a budgeting workshop, or even having an honest conversation with a trusted family member can make all the difference. Seeking guidance is not a sign of weakness. It's an act of wisdom and a crucial part of maintaining control over your life. Lastly, think about the legacy you want to leave. Many older adults worry about leaving something for their children or grandchildren, but it's vital to remember that your well-being must come first. The greatest gift you can give your family is financial independence. By taking care of yourself, you're not only ensuring your peace of mind but also sparing your loved ones the burden of supporting you. The example of responsibility and resilience you set will be a far more valuable inheritance than anything material. Your ability to stand strong and self-sufficient will be a legacy of love and strength that they can look up to. Ignoring financial realities in old age is a mistake that can cost far more than just money. It can cost you your peace of mind, your dignity, and ultimately your happiness. But if you choose to face these truths head-on, with courage and clarity, you can build a future that is secure, fulfilling, and full of freedom. After all, you've worked hard your entire life to get here. You deserve to honor that effort by managing your finances wisely so that you can live your golden years with the joy, dignity, and peace of mind you've earned. 5. Waiting for someday. As we journey through the later chapters of life, one of the most insidious and heart-wrenching habits we can fall into is the quiet, almost subconscious act of waiting. Waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the right time, or waiting for that elusive someday when things will finally fall into place. This habit, so common and seemingly harmless, is, in fact, one of the greatest tragedies of old age. It's a thief, a silent burglar that steals from us not just days and months, but entire years of possibility, joy, connection, and fulfillment. It whispers to us that we have time, that we can put things off for another day, another year. But what it robs us of is our most precious and limited resource: time. Waiting for someday doesn't just rob us of the days that slip through our fingers like sand. It steals the very essence of life itself, the opportunities to live fully, to experience all the wonders that life has to offer, to create lasting memories that will sustain us through the quiet, reflective moments in our later years. It's easy to justify this waiting, to tell ourselves that the timing isn't right, or that we need to wait for circumstances to improve. But the brutal truth is that this waiting is a mirage, a false hope. Someday is a promise that never delivers. It's a destination that never arrives. And the longer we wait, the more we risk watching life pass us by. What is it about someday that feels so seductive? It's as if the universe has promised us that one day when everything is aligned perfectly, when our health is better, when our finances are more stable, when our fears magically disappear, that's when we'll do the things we've always wanted to do. It's a fantasy we tell ourselves to avoid facing the reality that time is slipping away, that the clock is ticking. But here's the painful truth. Someday doesn't exist. It's a beautiful illusion, a mirage on the horizon that we chase but never quite reach. It's like chasing the stars, only to realize that the closer we get, the farther away they seem. For those of us in the later years of life, waiting for someday becomes perhaps the most dangerous mistake of all. As we age, time is no longer a luxury we can afford to waste. Every moment counts, every day matters. We don't have the luxury of an endless future to make decisions, to take chances, to build the life we've always wanted. Our time is finite, and the urgency to live well and live fully becomes ever more pressing. The truth is, the moment we start waiting for someday, we're already losing precious time. But why do we wait? Why do we allow ourselves to fall into this trap of hesitation and inaction? What stops us from living the life we imagine, from embracing the opportunities right in front of us? Sometimes it's fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being judged. Maybe we want to reconnect with an old friend or family member, but we're afraid they won't feel the same way. Perhaps we long to travel to a dream destination, but we fear our health might not cooperate. Or maybe we've always wanted to start a new hobby, take a class, or join a group of people who share our interests, but we're scared that we're too old or too out of touch to fit in. These fears, though entirely understandable, are the walls we construct around ourselves to keep us in the safe, familiar place we know. But in reality, these fears only keep us locked in a prison of regret, standing in the way of the life we could have lived. At other times, it's pride or procrastination that holds us back. I'll do it when I feel better, we tell ourselves. I'll start after the holidays when life slows down. We say, it can wait. There's no rush. But the reality is, that life doesn't wait for us. The world moves forward, and every moment we hesitate, every time we say later, we risk losing a piece of our vitality. The call we meant to make goes unanswered. The trip we hope to take remains a distant dream. The new activity we wanted to try is left undone. And in the end, it's not the things we did that we regret most. It's the things we didn't do, the chances we never took. There is a certain clarity that comes when we finally come to terms with the reality that our time is limited. It's a clarity that cuts through the fog of uncertainty, a sharpness that brings into focus what truly matters. It's like a moment of awakening, when we realize that our time here is not infinite, that every day is a gift, and that every decision we make, big or small, can either bring us closer to the life we want or push us further away. This recognition doesn't need to be a source of fear. It can be a catalyst for action. Instead of waiting for the right moment, we must learn to embrace the imperfect now. We have to learn to act now, with all of its messiness, uncertainty, and discomfort. Reach out to that person you've been meaning to call, even if you don't know what to say. Book that trip to that place you've always dreamed of visiting, even if it feels daunting. Sign up for that class or activity, even if you're the oldest one in the room. Act with urgency, not because you're rushing through life, but because you understand that time is precious, that moment can't be reclaimed, and that every day you wait is a day you'll never get back. Living with urgency doesn't mean living recklessly. It doesn't mean running around like a headless chicken trying to do everything at once. It means living with intention. It means waking up every day with the question, what can I do today that will make my life fuller, richer, and more meaningful? It means looking at each day not as another routine to be survived, but as an opportunity to truly live. It's about breaking free from the paralysis of waiting, from the fear of imperfection, and stepping into the life that's waiting for you, even if it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. The more you act, the more empowered you become. Each small step forward builds momentum, and soon, those small steps add up to a life lived intentionally, a life lived fully. It reminds you that you still have the power to shape your world, create new experiences, and continue growing, no matter your age. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. This is not about denying the reality of aging or pretending that everything will always be easy. It's about acknowledging the challenges that come with growing older but refusing to let those challenges define us. There's no perfect time to live fully. There is only now. If we wait for some time, we risk watching life slip away in a blur of what-ifs and unfulfilled dreams. But when we choose to act, when we choose to live in the present moment, we open ourselves up to the possibility of joy, connection, growth, and new experiences. We show ourselves and the world that it is never too late to live with purpose and passion. Old age is not a time to retreat, to passively watch the world move around us. It's a time to lean in, to take bold steps toward the life you've always dreamed of, to make peace with the life you've already lived, and to embrace the present moment. It's a time to recognize that every day, every single day, is a gift, a chance to love, to learn, to heal, and to grow. So don't wait for some time. Someday is a lie. What you have is today, this moment, this opportunity. Use it. Make that call. Take that trip. Try that new thing. Live with urgency. And you will find that the regret of waiting is replaced by the satisfaction of action. And in doing so, you will realize that the life you once dreamed of isn't somewhere far off in the future. It's the life you're living right now. As the sun sets on one chapter of your life, it rises on another. Aging is not the end of the road. It is a new beginning. It's a time for reflection, for new connections, for growth. But to truly embrace this season of life, we must be vigilant against the traps that diminish our joy and purpose, waiting for the perfect someday being one of the most dangerous. Don't let procrastination, neglect, or fear hold you back from the life you deserve. Here's the truth. It's never too late to choose differently. The beauty of life is that every single day offers a fresh start. Regardless of your age, you have the power to change your habits, to take charge of your health, your finances, and your relationships. You can break free from old patterns and live with gratitude, intention, and purpose. These decisions, though simple, have the power to transform your golden years into a time of deep meaning and connection. Remember, aging isn't about counting the years. It's about making the years count. It's about showing up every day with an open heart, a curious mind, and a spirit ready to embrace all that life has left to offer. The past has shaped you, but it does not define you. What defines you is how you choose to live now, how you choose to live today. Let your later years be a testament to resilience, wisdom, to love. Let them reflect on the depth of a life well lived, full of joy, connection, and fulfillment. Because in the end, what matters most is not how long we live, but how deeply we lived and how fully we embraced the moments that made up our lives. Wow, we've covered a lot today, haven't we? From understanding the preciousness of time to recognizing the dangers of waiting for that elusive someday. I hope you found some meaningful insights that resonate with you. Life truly is fleeting, and every moment we spend waiting could be a moment spent living fully. So, what have you learned so far? What's one thing you will take away from this conversation and bring into practice in your own life? I'd love to hear from you. Please share in the comments below one thing you've learned today and how you plan to put it into action. Whether it's seizing a moment you've been postponing or embracing life with more urgency, your thoughts might inspire someone else to take that first step too. If you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, don't forget to leave your comment below, like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on more content that's all about living life to the fullest. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, it's never too late to start living your best life.